So who is going to engage? Yeah, መለስ what do you think? መለስ እያወራ ከሆነ ድምፅ አይሰማኝም። አሁን ይሰማል።
Policy question refers to a types of questions or a framework used to assess the effectiveness of impact outcomes of policies.
በጣም ጥሩ። ሌላ ሰው so that's true. What about how many evaluation questions are there based on the program issues they evaluate? Based on the program issues they evaluate, how many evaluation questions we have? Testa, are you speaking? Yeah. እነዚህ ጥያቄዎች ፈተና ላይ ይኖራሉ። በቃ እነዚህ ሶስቱ ጥያቄዎች ይኖራሉ። ሜቢ ኪዩዝም ሊሆኑ ይችላሉ። አንብቡና ኑ ኔክስት ዊክ። So today let me start a new chapter which is the need assessment and the program theory assessment. So learning objective at the end of this chapter, I believe you will understand the purpose and the process of the need assessment in program evaluations. You will learn how to conduct evaluability assessment to determine the feasibility of an evaluation, identify the component and the importance of the program theory in program evaluation, develop skill in articulating and describing program theory, including program process and impact theories. Lastly, at the end of this chapter, I believe you will gain the ability to assess program theory through various sources of information, such as program document, interview, and site visit. So this is a learning outcome or learning objective of this specific chapter. Let me introduce you, learning content or, content of this chapter. Mainly, this chapter has 5 major content or sub-content. Let me put it like that. The first one is need assessment. Second one is evaluability assessment. Third one is program theory component. The fourth one is component of the program theory, and the last one is assessing program theories. So these are the subtopics that we are going to see in this chapter. Now, let's start from a need assessment. When you do a policy evaluation, the first task you need to do is a need assessment. What does it mean when we say need assessment? Of course, a need assessment means you need to check where, the importance of that policy or that project is. You have to check whether that policy from the beginning is important, whether that project, that program from the beginning is really important to implement. So the need assessment is a procedure used by evaluator and other social researcher to systematically describe and diagnose social needs. So this is one of the tools that the researcher and the social evaluator do to check or to systematically describe and diagnose social needs. So this is about describing social needs or analyzing social need in systematic ways. It means it's about checking whether implementing that project or that program is really necessary or not. It's about the necessity of that intervention. Sometimes you may disqualify from the beginning. This project is not important, right? If there's no need, if there's no demand, if there's no impact of that program or that project to the community at large, so we don't need to have it, isn't it? That's what we call it, a need assessment. The other one is the need assessment is the process of identifying performance requirement and the gap between what performance is required and what presently exists. So the need assessment is the process of identifying the performance requirement and the gap between what performance is required and what presently exists. So need assessment, on the other hand, is a way that we check the gaps. The gap, specifically this thing is very important. Performance required and what presently exists. What is required and what we have. So that is what is about identifying the gap. If there is no significant gaps, and then our conclusion may be there is no need to have it, right? To have that intervention. Right? So the need assessment is a process of identifying the gap. That is also very important. The gap between what is required and what we have. You see, that is the need assessment. If there is no that much gaps, what is our conclusion then? There is no need. If what we have currently and the potential we have currently is equal to what is required, right? Then there is no need. If there is no gap, then there is no intervention, or there is no need to have intervention. So that's also very important things. That is the need assessment, right? And the other one is the purpose of assessing the need. Why we need to do it? What is the purpose of assessing the need? It is to determine if there is a need or a problem, and if so, what is its nature, what is its depth, and what is the scope. That's also very important things. We need to conduct a need assessment in order to determine, the need or the demand or the problem, right? So those things are similar in meaning. It determines the need in the community, or is about identifying, articulating the problem, or it's like calculating the problem, like numerically putting it the problems. That is the need assessment, right? It's about it is one step to suggest a solution, isn't it? Need assessment, conducting a need assessment is one step to provide, a solution, and that things help you to understand that problem in depth. The nature of the problem, the depth of the problem, the scope of the problem. Conducting a need assessment help you to understand the nature, the depth, and the scope of the problem very well. That's what we call it, need assessment, or the advantage of conducting the need assessment, because it helps you to understand that things, in depth very well. You have to see, or you have to understand that problem, that needs from different angle. From its nature, from its depth. Its nature means, its type, right? The depth, in a sense, is a kind of how many community members are actually influenced or affected by that problem, right? And the scope, the depth and the scope are somehow related. The scope is geographically, right? Not now, when we say geographical is one aspect, the scope has different aspects. We can see, the scope of the problems from different aspects. One is geographical scopes, isn't it? The other one is maybe who are influenced, from the community members who are actually influenced by that problems. Middle income, higher, all community member, or lower income, or higher income earner. It depends, right? So that we have to understand the problem in that ways, and that's what we call it, need assessment. In addition, need assessment often encompasses the process of comparing and prioritizing need according to whether it is serious or not, whether it is neglected or not, whether it is relevant or not. You see, if you conduct a need assessment, it helps you to compare and to prioritize the need according to these things, whether it is serious or not, right? If the issue is very serious, if the problem is very critical, then the intervention should be implemented immediately, whether it is neglected or not. That issue is neglected by top decision maker or not, or by the community member or not, or the community administrative body or not, whether it is relevant or not, right? Whether implementing that type of like managing that type of problem is really relevant or not. If the scope is not that much, if the severity of the problem is not that much, right? Therefore, there is no need to you have to prioritize anyhow. If you can, as a decision maker, as to ensure good governance or to have a happy community, right? If you can, you have to handle each and every problem. But there are many things that hinder you to handle everything, right? In that situation, you have to prioritize, and conducting an assessment help you for that things. The other thing is the need assessment process. There are 7 processes that you have to follow when you conduct an assessment in the context of policy evaluation. The first one is identifying the user and the use of the need assessment. This thing is very important. Who are the user of that need assessment? What are the use of that need assessment? What is the advantage? This is the first thing. Who are the user and what is the use, the purpose? Second one is you need to developing a need assessment plan. Everything you want to do, you have a plan for that. So when you do a need assessment as well, you need to have a plan. Collecting and analyzing the data. Then you have to collect and analyze the data. So you have to make a decision based on evidence. You cannot make a decision without evidence. Your evidence is your data. Your evidence is your information, right? Collecting information and then analyzing is second thing. And the fourth one is describing the target population service of the environment. Then you have to describe it, identifying the needs. You have to identify the need, making the need assessments, and then you have to communicate the results of that need assessment. So these are the steps that you need to pass through when you conduct need assessment. And this is, of course, suggested by this scholar like Rossi, Lipsy, and Freeman. These are the 3 scholars that actually identify the 7 steps that we need to follow when we conduct a need assessment. I hope I'm hearing some sound from you from the background. Dr. share us the PPT. The PPT is already shared, isn't it? You can't see my screen?
No.
Yeah? Screen ይታያል አይታይም?
ይታያል።
ስክሪን ሼር አድርጊያችሁ ፒፒቲ እያያችሁ ነው አይደለ? ፓወርፖይንት እየታያችሁ ነበረ? ኤኒሃው ከእንትናችሁ ላይ ፎሎ እንድታደርጉኝ ፓወርፖይንቱንም ኢን አድቫንስ ሜቢ አንዳንዴ መሀል ላይ የሚቆራረጥ ከሆነ የራሳችሁ ላፕቶፕ ኮምፒውተር ላይ ፒፒቲውንም መክፈት ስለምትችሉ let me share chapter 5. The PPT is already shared on Telegram. You can get it, the PPT, on your Telegram. For in case if you cannot see my screen or if there is interruption of internet connection, then you can open and follow our class by using the PPT. How many students are here now? 24. 24 students. Gashau, you have to take attendance for summer class and Brahanu for regular classes. And so let us continue. But before that, is everything is clear now? So far, how is everything? So far, so good. What's going on around? Are you okay with the content that we are discussing? Yeah, that is the reason that's mute ያላረጋችሁ ሰዎች እነማን ናችሁ? ከዚህ ይታየኛል. Let me see who is Matthias. Matthias, you are like you need to mute yourself. Sometimes we are hearing a voice at the background of you. And the other one is Santayo. Who is Santayo? Oh, Santayo. You need to mute yourself. Yeah, all of you have to mute, but yeah, let me continue. If you have any question, you can stop me anytime, and then you can raise your question, your point. And now the evaluability assessment, this is also very important. Before evaluation start, it is often a good idea to perform an evaluability research, which means that the evaluator check whether performing evaluation makes sense or not. So evaluability, it comes from two words. One is evaluation, the other is ability. So it's about checking whether evaluations can be conducted or not. Evaluability. Evaluation means is about assessing the impact of a given intervention. Ability means whether you can do it or not. So evaluability assessment is about checking whether conducting evaluation is appropriate or makes sense or not. So evaluability assessment is a qualitative assessment of whether the minimal precondition for evaluation were met should proceed most evaluation efforts. So evaluability assessment mostly conducted in qualitative ways or in the qualitative assessment, and the purpose is to check whether the minimum precondition is fulfilled to conduct evaluation. Evaluability assessment is about checking whether conducting a mass or like all-inclusive evaluation is possible or not. In these cases, you may check whether from the different aspects, from time, for example, for how many years that the project is implemented. Is it that time is really enough to get some kind of impact from that implementation or not? Right? In terms of the beneficiary, how many beneficiary or target actually gets intervention? The intensity of that intervention, the amount of that intervention. And then you check whether that intensity, that amount is enough to see some kind of tangible, visible, outcome or impact. That's what we call it, evaluability assessment. You can check evaluability from different aspects. What is the objective of conducting evaluability assessment? First, to create a climate favorable to evaluation works. To create a climate favorable to evaluation work. Right? To create a situation, a condition which is good for evaluation. If the evaluability assessment show that evaluation is not appropriate, then you don't need to bother yourself conducting evaluation, because you're in a kind of preliminary evaluation. Evaluability assessment can be called as a preliminary evaluation, or what we call it, a pilot evaluation. Is a kind of a pilot evaluation. Before you go for detailed evaluation, you can check many things on the pilot, right? You can check your instrument, you can check many things, whether your respondent can understand your words or not, and those things. Pilot. You see, when you develop questionnaires for your proposal, for your thesis, graduation thesis, it is common that you conduct pilot tests. The objective of conducting a pilot test is to check quality of your data collection instrument, reliability of your data collection instrument, right? Isn't it? That is what we call it, pilot tests. It is a common thing. But when we come to evaluation, you have to conduct evaluability assessment before you go to the larger evaluation, because evaluability assessment is one of the approaches that you use to create a good condition for an evaluation, right? To agree, the second reason that we need to conduct evaluability assessment is to agree on understanding of the nature and the objective of the program that will facilitate the evaluation design, the nature and the objective of the program. You have to understand, you have to agree and understand. So, as an evaluation and evaluator, first of all, you need to know the nature and the objective of the program. Because as an evaluation, what is your goal? You have to check whether that intervention actually is lined or moved or like target the objective or not, isn't it? You check to what extent that intervention actually contribute for the objective of that policy or that program, isn't it? That is what we call it evaluation in simple ways. Evaluation is about checking whether the intervention actually can contribute for the objective, for the intended goals, isn't it? So as an evaluator, you have to understand the objective of the program, isn't it? The objective and the nature of the program is very essential. Understanding that thing is very important. So the common outcome of evaluability assessment is the program manager and the sponsor recognize the need to modify their program, or it can reveal a fault in the program delivery system that the intervention itself needs to be reconceptualized. Sometimes the end result of evaluability assessment is the first one, maybe the program manager and the sponsor recognize the need to modify their program. Sometimes they may come up with such type of outcome, or they may even show some kind of faults in the design from the beginning, and therefore they need to redesign it. So these things are there. So evaluation is unlikely to lead to improved program performance in the following circumstances. Evaluation is unlikely to lead to improved program performance if the following things happen. First, if the evaluator and the intended user fail to agree on the program goals, objective, information, priorities, and the intended use of the program. If there is misunderstanding between evaluator and the intended user on the following things: on the goal of the program, objective of the program, information, priority of the program, intended uses of the program, then the evaluation result is unlikely to lead to improved program performance. Second one is if the program goal and the objective is unrealistic. Sometimes, when you develop a program developer mostly develop an objective or goal which is completely unrealistic. You need to know your potential. You need to know your capacity. That's very important. If you don't understand your potential, if you don't understand your capacity, then you end up with such type of things, which is unrealistic goal, unrealistic, objective. If relevant data are unavailable and cannot be obtained at a reasonable costs, and then the evaluation is unlikely to lead to improved program performance, right? Because if there is no information, you cannot do a program evaluation without information. If you cannot get information at reasonable costs, at manageable costs, even if you have information but the information is too expensive to get it, then you cannot do a policy evaluation, and therefore the evaluation thing that you do is more probably cannot lead you to the improved program performance. If a policymaker or the managers are unable or unwilling to use the evaluation information to change the program, then the evaluation is unlikely to lead to improved performance. Here, if the policymaker or if the manager of the project are unable or unwilling, if they are not interested, or if they cannot use the evaluation information for the program change, then you do your evaluation and your outcome is a kind of a shelf on a shelf. It will not be changed into something which is useful, right? So in that context as well, then the result of your evaluation is senseless or meaningless. The other one is activity on evaluability assessments. Evaluability assessment generally involves three primary activities. The first one is description of the program model with particular attention to define the program goal and objective. When you do evaluability assessment, the first tasks you need to do is the description of the program model. especially you have to focus on program goal and objective. That's very essential. Description of the program goals. Program model. The second thing is assessment of how well defined and evaluable that program model is. Description of the program model, understand the program model, especially focus on the program goal and objective. Then you have to evaluate how well defined and evaluable that program model. You need to start from the program model. That is a kind of paperwork. When you develop a kind of building, let's say like a building which has 10 floors or the big building, and then you have a master plan for that, isn't it? That master plan is a program model. For that project, for that building, it is a roadmap, right? Those engineers are actually using that roadmap, that things to build it, right? So when you do a program evaluation as well, you have to start from program model. At the beginning of the project or the program, they need to have this program model, right? And therefore, you have to look at the program model and you have to check from the beginning the program model, whether the program is actually well modeled or not. Third, identification of stakeholder interest in evaluation and the likely use of the finding. You see, now you are evaluator and your stakeholder are those on the project, the manager of the project, the sponsor of the project, the government body are the stakeholder of that project. You are their customer or they are your customer, because you are specialist, you are professional in this context, right? Therefore, you need to understand their interest. What is their interest? What they want from you as a policy evaluator? You need to know their interest. What is their interest? What they are looking from you? And even you need to know to what extent that they are going to use your finding. You have to articulate their interest, the extent that they can use your evaluation result. So this is about evaluability assessment. Now let's talk about program theory or program model, because when you come to project or program, always there should be a program theory. Program theory means it is a paper value or something that we need to put on the paper about that project. At the beginning, the status of that specific issues, current status, what type of interventions they are looking for, and what is expected. You see, this thing should be clearly articulated in the program theories or program model, isn't it? It should be clearly articulated. The current status, kind of intervention that you are going to give, expected outcome. That's what we call it program theory. Therefore, as an evaluator, you start from the program theory. You need to start from the program theory. A program theory is a theory that drives a program evaluation. It is a theory that guides a program evaluation. Every program embodies a conception of the structure, the function, the procedure appropriate to attain its goal. Therefore, the program theory actually shows these things: the structure, the function, and the procedure of to attain your goals. Those things. It should clearly describe these things. So this conception constitutes the logic or the program, the logic or the plan of the program, which we call it program theory. So that conception that constitutes the logic or the plan of the program is called program theory. That program on the paper. Program theory simply means that intervention from the beginning to the end on the paper. Yeah, you have a master plan. For example, if you have let's say what we call it plan, right? commonly in Amharic we call it plan. ካርታ የቤት ካርታ የሚባለው ነገር ማለት ነው አይደል? You know that things, right? So that you know, if you have that paper, that's roadmap, right? You can even get money from bank, isn't it? Isn't it? And if, for example, for civil engineer, you know, the architectures engineer, always their job is mainly they need to articulate or they need to design a given building, right? On the paper, right? Then the civil engineers use what is designed by architecture engineer, and then they have to build it, right? Practically. So what the architecture engineer design for a building is what we call it program theory. The same meaning. Program theory is a plan of the program, a logic of the program, a roadmap of the program. It is a framework of the program. It is a domain of that program. Are you with me? So far, how is thing is going? How many students? 26 students are here. So we are expecting around 30 students. 4 students are missing the class. So I think those class representatives should take attendance, isn't it? Are you taking attendance? Please take attendance. Very good. Very good. Let's continue. So far so good. Do you have any question? Is it clear? We have seen 3 things so far. The first one is need assessment. The second one is evaluability assessment. The third concept that we have seen is program theory. Program theory is, it is a logic of the program. It is the plan of the program. It is a paper value, or it is a paper representation of the program or that intervention. It is on the paper. It is on the paper. It is the architect of that program. Simply, it is the architect. It's the design of that program. Therefore, as an evaluator, you need to start from what? From where? From the program theory. You have to understand the program theory clearly. Very good. Let's continue. Describing and articulating the program theory. Program theory can be viewed as relatively detailed description of the relationship between the program resources, the program activity, the program outcome that show how the program is supposed to work or how the program is supposed to bring about the intended outcome. Very well articulated here. Very well articulated. A program theory can be viewed as relatively detailed description of the relationships. It is a detailed description of the relationship between whom? Between what? Among program resources, the program activities, and the program outcome. So 3 things are there. The program resource, technical resource, financial resource, human resource. Program resource, program activity, the intervention. The program intervention, that is the intensity of the intervention. You know, those things, everything are there, all the intervention. And then the outcome. So it shows the relation among those 3 things. And then how the program is supposed to work. It shows how the program is expected to work, how it should go. You see, as an implementer, as a manager as well, you have to know the program theory. Because you are a manager, because you are implementer, you are actor. Even as a beneficiary, you have to know, that is your right to know about the program theories. So that you know what you write, you know your responsibility as well. You know even whether you are the target or not. Who are the target? It should be clearly articulated on the program theory. Or simply the program theory shows how the program is supposed to bring about the intended outcome. The end outcome is there. In order to reach the end outcome, what procedure we need to pass through? We have to know it, isn't it? We have to know it. And the program theory help us to know the way, the road, and the procedure that we need to pass through or we need to follow in order to achieve the intended objective. So the objective for articulating a program theory is to depict the program as intended. You see, the main reason that we need to have the program theory, the main reason that we need to articulate the program theory clearly, the main reason that as a manager, as a policy implementer, as an evaluator even, to understand the program theory or to articulate the program theory is, of course, to implement the program as intended. And as an evaluator, to check or to assess or to evaluate whether the program is actually implemented as it is written on the paper, and whether the program is actually able to achieve what it intended to achieve. The program theory shows the actual expectation held by the program decision maker about what the program is supposed to do and what results are expected to follow. This is also very interesting. The program theory shows the actual expectation, what they are actually expecting at the beginning of the program, about that program, what the program is supposed to do, what the results are expected to follow from the intervention. You see, the sponsor of the project, the manager of the project, the top decision maker of that project, they expect some things in the beginning, and the program theory depicts that thing, show that thing, clearly describe that thing. It should be clearly articulated on the program theory, what the program is supposed to do, what expected outcome from the program, these things, right? The component of the program theory, according to RLF, one scholar highlighted two components of a complete program theory. One is program process theory, the other is program impact theory. So it's very interesting. The component of the program theory, it has two components. One is the process theory, the processes. In order to achieve the end outcome, you need to pass through some kind of process, isn't it? The program theory shows that thing. The program process theory consists the service utilization plan and the organizational plan. And the program impact theory consists of action hypothesis and the conceptual hypothesis. So it's very interesting. The program process theory consists of the process in that program. There is no outcome in that context. It is the process. Program impact theory consists of the action hypothesis and the conceptual hypothesis. Let me see. I hope you can see this diagram, isn't it? This is a component of the program theory on the diagram. Is that visible? My screen? Is it visible? Is it visible? People are ittayalar. All right. All right. As you see here on this program theory, component of program theory on this diagram, from here we have the target population from the left of mine. As you see on my left, we have target population. You see, at the beginning, we have target population. Then we have service arena as well. This is the place where the intervention and the beneficiary need to interact. Service arena, where they need to get program target, program and the target. service transaction. It's very cool, isn't it? Interesting. Program, the intervention, the target, the beneficiary, then there's the transaction. That means the target actually gets or start to get the benefit. Here is the program. The program includes the program facility, personnel, and the activity itself, financial. Detail is here, the program. The program from this side, the target interactions with the delivery system here. The target is here. And this is the arena. It is the universe where the program and the target should make some kind of transaction. Transaction in a sense, the beneficiary or the target start to get the benefit from that intervention. Here, this is, we call it service utilization plan, and here is the program organizational plan. And when we talk about the program organizational plan, it includes the resource from the program aspect. That resource includes the program facility, personnel, activity, financial, technical, everything from the program aspect. Service utilization plan include, how we are going to provide the service, the step, the procedure, who are the first beneficiary, and everything should be clearly articulated under service utilization plan. And this is simply, we call it program theory, the first one, program process theory. This aspect, this body represents program process theory. And the other part from the right side as the end of this diagram, it is program impact theory. Program impact theory, this one is program process theory. So under program impact theory, there are two things, provisional outcome and the distal outcome. The difference is like this. The provisional outcome and the distal outcome. This one is immediate outcome. This one is the outcome that we will see in the long run. It shows the proximities. So program, let us discuss the component of program theory. We already mentioned that they have two components. One, program process theory. Second one, program impact theory. Let me see program process theory. The first one. The program process theory shows a kind of input in that program. It is input. There is no output in this context. There is no end outcomes. So program process theory provide an account of how the program is intended to bring about the desired interaction with the target population and provide the planned service. You see, program process theory shows and describe how we are going to interact with the target population and how we are going to provide the service or the intervention or the activity in that program. How we are going to provide the step, the procedure, the process, and everything. So, program process theory constitutes two things: organizational plan and service utilization plans. In the diagram, this is organizational plan, this is service utilization plan. You see, there are two things. There are two plans simply: organizational plan and service utilization plan. And now I think let me give you these assignments, this discussion point, before we go in detail about these things. We have here these things. We have these things. Suppose you aim to reduce a road traffic accident in Addis Ababa city through an awareness creation program. Identify major intervention, service delivery protocol, goal and target population, and draw a program theory for an awareness creation workshop on road traffic accidents. Yeah, I need you. For this specific question, expect you to develop a program theory for this intervention. It's very interesting. Maybe, yeah, I think All right, maybe let me give you one example. Before I ask you this question, let me give you one example. Right? You need to know that at the end of this class, you are going to develop a program theory. Bear in mind, we have an assignment that you need to develop a program theory for a given intervention. So before I ask you that question, let me give you an example of program theory. Let us continue in that context. So program organizational plan. Program organizational plan. What this thing is plan? There are two plans here. One is organizational plan. The other is service utilization plan. Organizational plan, it is the resources from the plan, from the program aspects. Service utilization plan, it is a plan about how we are going to provide the service. Therefore, these two things are very different. Organizational plan is about resources. Service utilization plan is about our activities. Therefore, there are two things. There are two different things. Now let's talk about program organizational plan. The organizational plan would describe the program activity and the resource and how they are to be organized and managed. Organizational plan describe or plan the program activities, one thing, the resource we have, the other thing, and how they are going to be organized and managed. Organizational plan. Example, to effectively promote the new seed, for instance, the agricultural extension program would have to prepare and distribute educational material, train the agent and arrange promotional opportunity for them, acquire sufficient quantity of the new seed and organize the distribution and the cost subsidies through, say, local commercial supplies. Now we have an intervention that's aimed to promote to use a new seed. In agriculture, we have this special seed, ምርጥ ዘር, you know, in Amharic we call it ምርጥ ዘር. Nowadays, farmers are highly interested to use a ምርጥ ዘር, isn't it? This special seed is very good seed. Is a seed actually produced under the experiment. And so if you apply it, you are going to harvest more than like double or something like that. It's fruitful, right? Now, initially, maybe the farmer, they are not interested to use this new and a special seed because they don't have any awareness. Now your objective is to promote among the farmer to use this new seed. The agricultural extension program would have to prepare and distribute. Now, from the program aspect, the objective of the program is to increase the awareness and the utilization of this new seed by the farmer. That is the objective. That is the end goal. They have to use it. They have to use it, didn't it? This seed. Right? I hope many of you practice farming things, right? So that you know this thing. Do you understand what I'm talking? These things. እንዲህ ማለት ምን ማለት ነው? ምን ሪፕሬዘንት ያደርጋል? እስቲ የሚነግረኝ ይታያል አይደል? እጄ እንዲህ ካልኩኝ what do you think?
ዘር መዝራት ነው።
you are correct. አሁን በዚህ ኦብጀክቲቭ የያዝ ነው ምርጥ ዘርን ገበሬዎች ወይም አርሶ አደሮች እንዲወስዱ ፕሮሞት የማድረግ አጀንዳ ነው። ምርጥ ዘር ፕሮሞት የማድረግ አሁን ይሄንን ነገር ለማድረግ ኦርጋናይዜሽናል ፕላን ላይ ምን ነገሮች ናቸው የሚያስፈልጉት? ምን ነገሮች መታቀድ ፕላን ሲባል እቅድ ነው። ምን ነገሮች መታቀድ አለባቸው? አንደር ኦርጋናይዜሽናል ፕላን እነዚህ ጉዳዮች መታቀድ አለባቸው። 1. Education material. You have to teach them. 2. Train the agent and arrange promotional opportunity for them. You have to train the agent more probably agricultural extension agents. So third, you need to acquire sufficient quantity of new seed. You have to know that raw seeds, right? Fourth, organize distribution. You need to know how to organize, how to distribute it. So these things are the things that you need to arrange and organize in the plan from the intervention aspect before you go, isn't it? Before you start the implementation. Now, when we could come to service utilization plan, the service utilization plan describes how the target population will be engaged with the program from the initial contact to the completion of the intended service. You see, service utilization plan, you have to plan how to supply the service, the intervention, the activities, how you are going to contact the target, your plan. Who first you need to contact? You need to know these things. Who is second? Who is third? So you have to know the sequence that you need to contact, even your target. In terms of, even you need to know the intensity of your activities. How many kilogram or how many kilogram seed that you are going to give them, right? For like in our example, for the agricultural extension program, the service utilization plan would lay out the sequence of the interaction the target farmer are expected to have with the educational material, the agricultural extension agent, and the supplies of the disease-resistant seed. So when we say special seed, on one thing, this seed is a disease-resistant seed. It is a disease-resistant seed. So it is a special seed actually produced under the experiment. Therefore, and in our example now, under the agricultural extension program, you need to know how the sequences that you need to interact with the farmer, right? The sequence. Now there are four things. One is education material. The other thing is agricultural extension agents. The third one is supplies of those disease-resistant seed. Even you need to know you have to plan about the distribution mechanism on the organizational plan. Under service utilization plan, you need to know how you are going to interact with your target, farmer in this context, right? That is what we call it service utilization plan. Therefore, you need to plan how the service should be utilized, the sequence, the intensities, the schedule, everything should be planned here. The other one is program impact theory. The program impact theory is the second component of the program theory, and this part actually shows what? The impact. So the program impact theory defines how the causes and the effect sequence through which the program is expected to bring about the change in social condition it addresses. So the outcome in the program impact theory may include proximal outcome and distal outcomes. Proximal, as the name indicates, it is the immediate outcome. Distal, as the name indicates, it is a distance outcome. It is the outcome that you expect in the long run. So proximal outcome, more immediate, more direct results. Distal outcome, more ultimate or longer term outcome. Therefore, these two things should be articulated clearly in detailed manner under program impact theory on your program theory. So, more or less, this is example. Yeah, do you have any question? Is it so far everything is clear? Is it clear? Let me hear from your side. Is it clear? Let me Okay, what do you think? Everything is clear? Yeah, I'm seeing your hand up or thumbs up. That's good. Do you have any question? Any question? Yeah, thank you. I noticed that everything is clear. That's good. Now let's go to for this one. The conceptual framework of program theories. According to Chen, underscore two basic model in program theory. Basic model in program theory. One is action model, the other one is change model. Action model, the intervention model, it shows what action are needed. Action model describe the action needed. Change model describe what would the intervention affect the outcome. Why would the intervention affect the outcome? So action model, it is a process. Change model, it is the impact. So let me see these things in diagram. What this program theory model look like on the diagram. I hope this diagram is also visible for you. As you see here, action model, it shows the process. Change model, it shows the impact. Under action model, we have these things. First, implementing organizations are here. Implementer are also here. Then, associates, organization, and community partner. The partner with that organization are here. Sponsor or supporter or the community at large or institution, social, formal and informal, ecological context, the environment that the policy is going to be implemented, and the intervention is the service delivery protocol. The activity in that program and the service delivery protocol should be described here. And the target, we are going to make the transaction of the service with the target here. So this first box shows action model. It shows action model. Then change model is here. The change model includes three things: the intervention, the determinant for that intervention, lastly the outcome. So this is what we call it, the conceptual framework of program theories. So if you have a program, then you need to develop the conceptual framework of that program theory using this diagram. More or less, it looks like this. The action model in the first box, the change model in second box. The action model shows the process, the change model shows the outcome, the impact. Now let us see example together and then I will give you assignments. Program theory of anti-smoking campaign. The intervention is a comic book. The objective is about anti-smoking. A story is like this: young heroes and heroines fight villains to save the world. It's about anti-smoking. The target population is middle school students. They are middle school, grade 7, grade 8, middle school students. Maybe grade 9, grade 10. Middle school students. Younger. Age, more probably 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Goal: to reduce pro-smoking related belief and attitude. Reduce smoking behavior. Some of these young children, they are on the fire age, isn't it? Commonly we call this year teenagers. They are on the fire age. They don't know what they are doing really. Maybe we can call, mostly they test everything. They have a confidence to do it. Mostly they have a confidence or they want to do everything. They don't balance whether it is good or not. So it is dangerous, isn't it? Now there are some comic book that actually teach these middle school students about the effects, the side effect of smoking, so that their belief and their attitude on smoking will be changed, and their behavior or the tendency to smoke will be decline, or like it will be 0. Now the program theory of anti-smoking campaign look like this. Here is community-based organization, the implementing organization, project coordinator and staff, the implementers, collaborating with school and the teachers. So these are the partner. They need to collaborate with this implementing partner, communicating with parents and obtaining their support. So this is the arena, ecological zone. So you have to talk with the parent, isn't it? You need, because this specific intervention will not be provided during class time. They have to miss the class and they need to stay a little bit long in the school to read about that comic book or that intervention. So you have to get permission from the family, and therefore communicating with parents and obtaining their support is here. Then developing the anti-smoking comic book and the service delivery protocol. You have to have that comic book, and you need to know how you give that comic book for your target. Then identify and reaching the student for participating in the project. So you have to identify the target, those middle school students, and you have to reach them. And so this is the process. This is the process. Now when we go to change model, providing comic book to the student and conducting class discussion. So you have to give them a comic book, you have to explain about that comic book, and you may talk that comic book in the kind of drama, or you may give them the chance to read by themselves. Student enjoyment in the reading the comic book. That book is not some story things. It is a kind of also very engaging and very interesting to read, because you are reading about some comic, as the name indicates by itself. Comic is something related to commedia, right? Comic, it's fun. It teach you through fun. It teach you through what? You relax, you enjoy it, as well as you learn from it. Students are familiar with character and the story in the book. Then they will be familiar with the character. You know, so sometimes they call it by name, and sometimes those people are represented as a teacher, as a student, name, and those things. Random name. And so they need to understand the stories. Changing the students' smoking belief, attitude, and behavior is the end outcome. As the end, what we expect after all this change model intervention, we expect they need to change their belief. So this is all about what I'm going to talk today, and this is assignment. We have a group. I'm going to give you this assignment in a group. Question number 1 for regular students. I think regular students are 7 in number, or 6 or 7 in number, and therefore you are in one group. You have to do a program theory for awareness creation program for these specific cases. Second group, the Ministry of Education aim to enhance the quality of education by providing on-the-job, long-term training for teacher on teaching skill and know-how. Identify the major intervention service delivery protocol, goal and target population, and the design a program theory for on-the-job long-term training for a teacher. So this is related to the quality of education and the intervention that the Ministry of Education want to give for university teacher or for any teachers. The third one is the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Children and the Women cooperate to design an awareness creation program for high school students on harmful traditional practice in their community. This is about harmful traditional practice. Identify the major intervention, service delivery protocol, goal, the target population, development program theory, and then develop a program theory for an awareness creation program on harmful traditional practice. So there are 3 questions here. Question number 1 is for regular students. For summer students, how many groups do you have? How many groups we have commonly for summer students? Very good. አምስት ግሩፕ በጣም ጥሩ። ይሄኛው ጥያቄ ለግሩፕ 1 ይሄኛው ጥያቄ ለግሩፕ 2 ግሩፕ 2ዎች ያዙ። ግሩፕ 2 ይሄኛው ጥያቄ ለግሩፕ 3 group 3 እና and group 4 ይሄኛው ደግሞ group 5 ይሄኛውን ይሰራል group 5 ይሄንን ያዙ so ይሄኛውን presentation ይኖረዋል ይሄ assignment presentation ይኖረዋል የዛሬ ሳምንት ስንገናኝ በፕሬዘንቴሽናችን ነው የምንጀምረው ማለት ነው በእናንተ ፕሬዘንቴሽን ነው የምንጀምረው ኦኬ ቴሌግራማችሁ ላይ ሼር ላድርግላችሁ ይሄኛውንም Thank you very much. I shared the assignment on your group Telegram. Please get it from there. And now it's time for you to raise any issue you have, any question, comment, suggestion, or any agenda that you want to discuss with me. The floor is yours and you can speak. Very good. Do you have any question? Very good, very good. If there is no question for today, let us stop here and next week we will start our class by your presentation of the program theory for those intervention. Right? Make sure that you are reading all the content that we have seen so far because the final exam is approaching. Right? The final exam is approaching. Please read in advance. Read in advance. So see you next week. See you next week. Have a nice time.
ይሰማችኋል አይደል የኛ ልጅ ሄሎ ይሰማል አዎ እሺ አሁን ዛሬ የምታዩኝ ስንታየው